Hello everyone. Today we are going to study regarding the OM interfaces. In the previous lecture, I told you that organizational structure can be created using any of these three interfaces, either through simple maintenance or through expert maintenance or through organization and staffing. So let's go one by one. What is simple maintenance? By the word itself, like simple maintenance, it is very simple to create. That's what it says, simple maintenance. Because simple maintenance uses a tree structure which allows you to create a basic framework for organizational plans using streamlined procedures. In this way, one can create one's organizational and reporting structures step by step, because this is a tree structure, so it's very simple to create. So simple maintenance is only used for those users who do not need all the functions available in the OM. Simple maintenance, basically it is only used to create the basic framework. It cannot store much information, I would say, but it is really good for those users who do not need all the functions in OM. They just want some basic structure. They are just looking for some part of the OM. So for the workflow purpose, workflow is something like which position should I would say, like email should route it to which employee or which position in the organizational management. So the business workflow users, they do not need all the functions in OM. For that reason, the original concept behind simple maintenance was to provide a tool that allows users to build and maintain organizational plans with speed and simplicity. They can just create very quickly. They don't have to have much knowledge, I would say, about the transaction codes and all this. Sometimes users, they can themselves create the organizational structure, because it's a tree structure and it's very simple to create. For organizational management users, simple maintenance is the best use to establish the basic framework in the organizational plan development. That's what I just mentioned. So in my previous lecture regarding the transaction codes in OM, I basically told you like there are three transaction codes which are basically used in simple maintenance to create the organizational structure. So the transaction codes used in simple maintenance are shown in this screenshot here. If you see, these are the three different transaction codes in simple maintenance. So when you click on one of the transaction code like PPOC underscore old, so this is the first screen which comes up. From here you can create the org unit, and then you can go and create the org structure, which will be in the form of a tree. It is a tree structure, but this is the first transaction code through which you will go and create the organizational structure using the simple maintenance. I'll show you in practically after these slides. So this was the simple maintenance. Hope you understood what is simple maintenance. It is very easy to create the basic framework, and it is only intended for those users who do not need all the functionality in OM. And simple maintenance has three transaction codes through which you can create your own organizational structure. Now the second one is the expert mode. Expert mode is an interface that is ideal for maintaining details. This is the only interface where you can basically maintain more details of any object, because it is basically, I would say this is the interface which uses the info types. So in my previous lecture I told you like OM info types are basically used in expert mode. So this is the only interface which uses info types. So info types for a particular object can be maintained in expert mode. So there are certain transaction codes for expert mode, like PO10 to create organizational unit, PO03 to create job, PO13 to create position, and similarly for work center. So expert mode is basically, I would say, info type maintenance. You take in these words, it will be more easy for you to understand. Expert mode is basically info type maintenance for maintaining more details about an object, because when we talk about OM, we always refer to object. An object could be anything. It could be org unit, it could be job, it could be position, it could be cost center, and similarly other objects. So now if you see, this is the screenshot to navigate to expert mode. So these are the different transaction codes to go into expert mode and create the organizational structure. And also I just showed you the navigation path. So if you go through navigation path, you basically end up here. You go to personal management, then go to organizational management, then you can go to expert mode. Now in the previous screen, this PO10 is the transaction code to create the org unit. PO10. So when I enter the transaction code PO10, you see the heading here, maintain organizational unit. So automatically this is basically allowing you to create organizational unit. And if you see here, I told you, here you will see the info type. So this object is info type 1000, relationships is info type 1001, and description is info type 1002. So these are the info types basically. So this transaction code is only for creating the organization unit. I mean, this is specifically transaction code allotted for organizational unit and its info type. Now if you go to PO03, this transaction code is only for creating job and its info type. So if you see, automatically it is pointing to job, because this transaction code is specifically for job creation. Now there is one transaction code called PP01. I would suggest you to make a note of this transaction code called PP01. When you use this transaction code, this is general, meaning you can create any object through this transaction code. So if you notice this transaction code PP01, it shows you maintain object, any object. So you can select the object from the drop down. It could be job, it could be org unit, it could be position, any. So this is not specific to any particular object. The previous transaction codes like PO03 was specifically for job. PO10, this was for org unit. But PP01 is for any object. So normally in real time, people, they normally use PP01 if they want to just go and create an object or something. So if they want to specifically enter additional information for a specific object, then they go with a specific transaction code. But if they want to maintain some other object apart from job, position, org unit, there are some other object types, right? Because OEM has lot of other object types. In that case, we use PP01. So that was expert mode. Now the third interface is organization and staffing. The organization and staffing transaction is the easiest way to manage the SAP HR for an end user who does not have in-depth technical knowledge of SAP. Similarly, like simple maintenance is also one of the best method for the users who do not need all functionality. Organization and staffing is also one of the way I have seen in my real time end users use this. So For organization and staffing also there are certain transaction codes like PPOC to create organization structure, PPOME to change, and PPOSE to display. So you can basically make a note of this transaction code somewhere in your notebook or somewhere, just to make sure that you are familiar with these transaction codes. Now when you click on this PPOME transaction code, so this screen will come up. So this screen has a different interface look and feel. So expert mode has a different look and feel. Simple maintenance will have a different look and feel of the interface of the structure, and organization and staffing also will have a different look and feel of the interface, or I would say the structure will be in a different way it looks like. So each interface has its own look and feel. Okay, so now let's go to SAP. So let us log into SAP. Now let's start with simple maintenance. So I'm going to human resource, I'm going to organizational management here, I'm expanding expert mode. So you will find the simple maintenance under expert mode. So there is no separate node for simple maintenance. So if you hide this, so you might be thinking very simple maintenance. So you have to expand the expert. So you will find simple maintenance here. Okay. Now expand. Now you will find these three different transaction codes for simple maintenance. So let's start with this transaction code to create the organizational structure. I'm clicking on this one. Let me put like the first org unit I'm just creating, Zenith Executive. I would say Zenith Executive Board. This is the top org unit. Okay, I'm just picking up this radio button, human resources view. Now once you give the abbreviation and the name of the org unit, you click on this create. When you click on create, now your first screen comes up this. From here you can just create the org structure very quickly. How? Let me show you. Highlight this one, go to, or I would say display change here, highlight this particular, because this is the main org unit, right? Now yeah, go to org structure, click on this one particular, the org unit, click on org structure, yeah. So this is the button create. So I'll go back here. So what you did when you created the org unit, the main org unit, I would say the Zenith Executive Board here, you click on this create here, because now you are trying to create the subordinate org units under this main org unit. So what I'm doing, I'm clicking on this create. So it says create organizational units under the main org unit. So I am saying like Zenith HR. So I am saying okay, this is Zenith HR. Then I would say Zenith benefits. So this is Zenith benefits. Now I am clicking on save. So now when you save, now you see like these two org units are basically reporting to this org unit, meaning Zenith Executive Board is the line supervisor of these two. Okay. Now I mean basically like this is just an org unit you have created. Now you have to create positions, you have to create job, you have to assign the holder to the position, then the org structure is completed. Now let's start with like this particular org unit. Now highlight this org unit and click on the staff assignment. When you click on the staff assignment, now it shows you the positions. Click on the position. To create a position, there should be some job, right? Because job describes the position, I told you. Now let us search if there is a job. So I am just searching and see a job. No, there is no job here. So I can create a job first. Creating a job called as manager. Okay, I'm just creating a job called manager. I would say he is the chief manager, something like that. So I'm just saving. But now this particular job cannot be a chief manager. I've just created a job like a manager and the name is chief manager. So normally your job will be like a manager. Now position can be okay, it already exists. That's fine. So the position can be chief manager or it could be program manager. So job is manager and the position can be program manager. Okay. Now it also tells how many positions you can create. So you can create 2 or 3, I would say like 2 positions. I am saving. So see here, S is position. So what it did, it created 2 positions under this org unit. Now go and create the position for these 2 subordinate org units, because these positions belongs to the main org unit. Now I have to go and create the positions for this subordinate org units. So I'm highlighting this. Again I'm going to create position here. The manager was already there, so I am basically using the same manager job and writing as a project, or I would say HR manager. Let me put up it this way, HR manager, and same. So when I this, it is showing what position I have created for this org unit. Now highlight this org unit and then again go to position, select your job manager, whichever job you want to select. I am selecting this one and then name as benefits manager. Just keep in note like the date will be basically the system date. So normally whatever the current date is there, it is basically showing up that date here. So now I am saving it up. Let me save it. If I expand it, it is showing up all the positions which are assigned to the respective org units. So if you see, these 2 positions belong to this org unit, this position belong to this org unit, this position belong to this org unit. Now you have created job, you have created position, you have created org unit. Now let us assign employee to this position. If you recall the personal administration, let me go to that screen, personal administration, PA30. I want to show you something very important. If you remember in my lecture, I have created this employee 50062. If you cannot recall, I would recommend to go back to that video and look at what number I have created. So this was the employee which I created. If I go to the organizational assignment here, look at this particular section. The position is 99999 because this employee was not assigned to any position. Job key was 00000. Org unit 000000. Why? Because there was no assignment. Now if I assign this particular employee, which is basically 50062, if I assign this employee to a position in simple maintenance here, like this is the position, right? This is the position. I'm assigning a holder. Holder is person. So now I am basically entering the personal number here. I'm searching for the name, right? So I'm entering the personal number 50062. So this number is basically I'm pointing to. See, so what I am doing, I'm pressing enter. It is showing the name of that person, John Adam, which are basically we created in PA. If you say John Adam. Now I'm assigning this person to this position. I am saving it up. I am saving. When you save, now you see P is the person identification. So this person 50062 is the holder of this position, and this position basically is reporting to this org unit. So it looks like a decent org structure. Now the key point, the moment I assign this person to this position, go to info type 1, you should be able to see how these details will automatically come, the job and org unit. Let me go back. Again, go inside this info type. I would say just go back, and I think I didn't save this one. So this is, yeah, let me go back to PA30, org assignment. See here, it showed me a position, job number, org unit. Where is it coming from? 5001436. The manager, program manager is the position, title, job number and the job text, org unit is executive board. Where are these coming from? From simple maintenance, because of the integration between OM and PA. There is one more lecture which talks about the integration between PA and OM. Because of that integration only, the values of the org unit, the value of the position and the value of the job were transferred to the info type 1. That is the reason why you are able to see the values here. Otherwise you saw all were 0. The job was 0000, org unit was 00000, position was 99999, because even though it was integrated, but there was nothing assignment on the OM side. So that is the simple maintenance. Now I told you in my lecture, like even though you have created this particular structure in simple maintenance, you can go and see this structure in expert mode. So just remember this number, org unit number is 500143661. So it has this much of org structure created underneath of it. So let me go back here. Sometimes, yeah, like if you see overview, it basically shows a different views, and there are certain options here. If you click on staff assignments, it shows you the staff assignments here. If you go and see the org structure, it will show you the org unit reporting to the org unit. If you go to staff assignments, it will show you the position, person and other details. So there are different other like views which you can basically utilize here. And most important here, under view, there are certain things which you can key off and on. If you say key off, then you will not be able to see the number of that particular position and or unit. So always keep key on. So now I'm able to see here. Object period on, if you keep, then it will show you the validity of this particular object, meaning that the org unit is valid from this period till this end date. Similarly, person, validation date and all these dates will come up only when you click on the object period on. If you click on the relation period on, it will show you the relation period on here. So it basically, what it is doing, it is basically the functions, whatever you want to utilize, you can use it here. Now let us go to the expert mode. Okay, let us go to the expert mode. What is this? Is the expert mode. Let us go to this first transaction called PO10. When I click on the PO10, that is org unit, this info transaction code appears. Why it is showing the default? Because from simple maintenance this org unit was created, so it reflected. But anyways, let me just remove this here. So now go back and basically enter with general. Now why this plan, I'll tell you why I have used PP01. PP01, the reason I have chosen the PP01 is it is general. It can be used for any object. Either you can go with the specific object transaction code or you can use the PP01. So I am using the general one. So I am selecting the object type as org unit because this is general. General means it is not specific to any object type. You can select any object type here. I am selecting org unit. Now you can select your object ID, whatever you have created just now. Like I would say it was Zenith. Okay, ZNITH. So you are selecting this. See, even though you have created in simple maintenance, so these org units you can find in expert mode here. See, so I am selecting the top org unit, which is Zenith Executive Board. I am selecting this, press enter. One thing you might be noticing here is there are two green tick marks. What is it? It means that the data has been created for these two info types. This is info type 1000, this is info type 1001. 1000 info type is for object and 1001 for relationship. See, even though we created in simple maintenance, it is getting reflected in expert mode. If you highlight this and go to display here, you will see like Zenith Executive Board, Zenith Executive. These I created basically in simple maintenance, but you are able to see in expert mode. Similarly, the relationships. If you want to see the relationships, how many relationships have been created for this org unit, you select the relationships info type and then go and click on this overview. When you click the overview, see, it is showing so many relationships because we created, right? We create Zenith HR, we create Zenith Benefit, because this org unit is the top and these are the two org units which were reporting to this org unit. And similarly, there were two positions, if you remember, which were also incorporated under this org unit. So relationship is not only the relationship between org unit and org unit. Any relationship, it could be like position to org unit, or it could be between the org units. So whatever the relationship has been created for the org unit, it is showing up here. So these are the relationship. Now in my previous lecture I told you regarding the relationship number and also the direction. So if you see, this org unit is line supervisor of these two org unit, right? This org unit, and this org unit incorporates position. So you have to understand what is direction A, what is direction B. Then only you will understand the way how this relationship is pointing to. So B002 is the relationship. If you just like hide B, and if you say, oh, 002, you will not know who is reporting from which direction. So B is basically showing which org unit is reporting to which one, and which org unit is the line supervisor of which org unit. So this was the relationships. Now the next info type is 1002, which is description. Now you want to create some description, right? So you go and click create here. So there will be some subtypes for the description. If you want to create subtype in the configuration, you can create the subtypes, which I will show you. So if you want to create some subtype like general text, and then enter something like this is the top or unit, and then save it. See, it shows the green tick mark. Why? Because the information has been maintained. So the green tick mark, it basically shows that there was some details already entered in this info type, meaning that the activity has been performed and some information is already stored. So this was the expert mode maintenance. Similarly, if you go to the position and if you select your position, the position was like manager. Let me see. So if I select any, because there were so many positions created, so go and select program manager here, hit enter. It will show you two green tick marks because the position was already created. So it shows the position details, the name, abbreviation, the validity period, and it also shows what are the relationships this position is having. So if you see here, this position belongs to the org unit. That is the reason why the indicator direction is A, belongs to. If it was B, then it was like incorporated to. So similarly, this position has a relationship to the holder, and the holder relationship number is 008. 008 is the relationship between the position and the holder. And who is the holder? This employee number. If you remember, this employee number we created in personal administration. So this employee is the holder of this position, and this position belongs to this main org unit called Zenith Executive, and this position is described by the job. Obviously there is a relationship between the position and job also. So this is the relationship number is 007, which is used between position and job. So this is the way how you basically go and create the expert mode. So expert mode is nothing but info type maintenance. Simple maintenance was very easy. You created an org unit, you created subordinate org units, you created positions for each of the org unit, you assigned the holder for those positions. And because of the integration between OM and PA, you were able to see that that particular employee has this position number assigned to it, job number and org unit. It is because of the integration. So this was the expert mode. Now the third interface is organization and staffing. It also has certain transaction codes. Let us use PPOME called change. I am clicking on this one. So this is the, see, the look and feel of each interface is different. Expert mode, the look and feel was different. Simple maintenance, it was different. Organization and staffing, it is totally different. So now I am trying to search my org unit. So probably you can enter the name of the org unit here if you want to search Zenith, and you say find. So it gives you these org units. So you can set any of the org unit for which you want to maintain the details. So I am clicking on executive board. See, I clicked on executive board. It's showing me already whatever I have created in simple maintenance is getting reflected here. I told you, even though you create org structure in any of the interface, it automatically gets reflected in other interfaces. So this was the main org unit, Zenith executive board, and then I created two other org units called Zenith HR and Zenith benefits. And then I also created two positions under the main org unit, and then separate position like HR manager for Zenith HR and benefits manager for Zenith benefits. This was already created. In this particular interface, there are certain I would say functionalities available, just like in simple maintenance how we had it. So if you want to click org structure, it basically shows you a different way, details of the org units. How? Now if you want to go and point to the account assignment, if there is an account assignment, go and search for like staff assignment list. So it shows the different, like the position, whether it is vacant or not, and all other details. So this particular go-to has so many functionalities which you can basically try to, you know, I would say use this and get familiar like what are the purpose of each of them is. Okay. So now and also like I mean basically you can use more, because normally the end users, they always play around with these functions here. So you go here and then basically you can select your main org unit, then it will show you your subordinate org units here and all the details. So here there are the different tabs here. So the way of maintaining the organizational structure or creating is different from the simple maintenance and expert mode. Here we have different tabs here. If you see the basic data, this is the tab here. You are just writing the organizational unit and its name, and you are giving the assignment period. But because this is a change mode, the look and feel is different, because you can also create it. So this is the change. So the purpose of showing you these three interfaces is that when you create your own org structure, I would recommend like first first decide like which org unit you want to create, and which org unit you want to create as the top org unit, and which org units you want to create as a subordinate org unit, and you can also create certain jobs and also create certain positions for those jobs, and then assign the employees to those positions, and then move one after the other interfaces to see how it looks like, whether whatever the org structure you have created in simple maintenance, it is getting reflected in export mode, and whether it is getting reflected in organization and staffing. So in that way you will get more familiar of these interfaces. In real time, one of the interfaces is always used. So in like implementation of the project, normally you go in organization and staffing, and then you jump to the expert mode, because expert mode is the info type maintenance, which captures more information about the objects. So that was the end of this lecture, giving you an explanation of simple maintenance, expert mode maintenance, which is nothing but info type maintenance, and organization and staffing, and how you basically access to the transaction codes. Hope you enjoyed this class. Thank you.